Welcome, my little couch potatoes, to the comfiest courtroom on the internet. I'm your host, Llama, and it's time for dramatic testimony, overruled objections, and absolutely unqualified opinions. So grab your snuggiest blanket, some delicious snacks, and get ready to watch court with your internet besties. This is Couch Court with Llama, After Dark. Hello, my couch potatoes. We are now at the beginning of week 6 of the USA versus Sean Diddy Combs trial, and there are no cameras or video allowed, but every news network around the world is there. Now, tonight we're going to go through the updates provided by the Washington Post and their team of amazing journalists who are inside of the courtroom. Now, if you haven't yet, please like this video to appease the YouTube gods, and be sure to click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss when we go live or drop an episode. Now, tonight we're covering days 24 and 25 of the Sean Diddy Combs federal sex trafficking trial in New York. So, day 24. The government has indicated it plans to rest its racketeering and sex trafficking case against the embattled hip-hop mogul this week. On Friday, Assistant U.S. Attorney Maureen Comey said prosecutors could finish as early as Wednesday. Most of the people the government plans to put on the stand this week are summary witnesses, meaning their primary role will be to talk jurors through a slew of records, including text messages. As of Friday afternoon, there was only one anticipated witness who had a personal relationship with Combs, Brendan Paul, a former assistant. He may take the stand today. Now, the judge began court Monday morning by excusing juror number 6, whose credibility was called into question after inconsistencies in his statement about where he lived. The juror, a 41-year-old who works at a correctional facility, told the court during jury selection that he lived in the Bronx with his fiancée and daughter. But after an offhand comment made to a jury service staffer and further questioning by the judge, it was revealed that his girlfriend and daughter live in New Jersey and that he sometimes lives with his aunt in the Bronx. The juror also gave differing answers as to which home was his primary residence. Now, the judge was initially poised to dismiss the juror Friday afternoon, but the defense pushed back against the dismissal of a black juror. The record raised serious concerns as to the juror's candor, the judge observed in his Monday ruling, adding that it was concerning that juror number 6 appeared to be shading his answers to try to remain on the jury, a big red flag for the court generally. The judge also quoted the defense's own words back to it, that the jury was already among the most diverse to ever serve in the district. Juror number 6 is excused, the judge said, and he will be replaced by the first alternate juror. The government has called its first witness, Ananya Sinkar, a paralegal specialist who will help walk the jury through a chart of evidence the government has compiled. The chart being presented to the jury focuses on documents involving Christina Karam, the chief of staff for Sean Combs. These include text and audio messages retrieved from various cell phones, as well as audio files. Karam is a vital part of the government's racketeering case against Combs. She is one of the people prosecutors have painted as a participant in the Combs enterprise, which they contend conspired to protect Combs' reputation and cover up his alleged crimes. The government has been picking its way through a 33-page chart showing conversations Christina Karam, the chief of staff for Sean Combs, had with multiple individuals since 2016. Ooh, that is quite a chart. In correspondence with Combs, his assistants, and his girlfriends, Cassie Ventura and Jane, Karam appeared to be setting up hotels for her boss's freak-offs, as well as coordinating the delivery of thousands of dollars in cash. One set of messages from 2019 seemed to refer to Cowboys and Angels. Remember them? A service Combs and his partners used to recruit men to participate in these freak-offs. Now that's per testimony from Ventura and Jane. By the way, how long is he going to stay awake? Karam asked in one message to Combs' assistant. Combs' ex-girlfriends have said that the freak-offs for hotel nights typically lasted 24 to 48 hours. It's just crazy. The government highlighted several messages from Sean Combs' chief of staff, Christina Karam, referring to a person named Guido, whom prior witnesses have named as one of Combs' drug dealers of choice. These messages include a reference to picking up a Guido package, or, in one case, Karam telling Combs herself, Guido outside. In 2017, Cassie Ventura sent a message to Combs' chief of staff suggesting Combs had just dragged her by her hair and that she didn't feel safe. WTF, Ventura sent to Christina Karam. Karam asked if Ventura was okay. No, but you should talk to him, Ventura responded. I'm sure you don't want to get involved, but no one deserves being dragged by their hair, she said in a follow-up text. I don't have my stuff. I don't even have money. I'm fucked, Ventura messaged Karam. I will try to talk to him when he's up, Karam assured Ventura. Messages sent to Sean Combs' chief of staff suggested that she was aware that the mogul's ex-girlfriend felt mistreated and sexually exploited and didn't want to participate in any more freak-offs or hotel nights. The ex, who testified last week under the pseudonym Jane, sent Christina Karam messages in early November 2023 saying that she wanted no more hotel nights and I just can't. Then, after Cassie Ventura filed her lawsuit a couple weeks later, Combs himself appeared to forward screenshots of texts he received from Jane, saying she felt extremely exploited, heartbroken, and manipulated by you. Combs also appeared to send Karam audio files of phone calls he recorded with Jane in the immediate aftermath of the Ventura lawsuit. Jane told Combs that the lawsuit described, like word for word, her experience. The court is now taking a short mid-morning recess. Now, court has resumed, and Ananya Sankar, a paralegal specialist at the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, is walking through another summary exhibit showing years of correspondence between Sean Combs' security guard, Damon Butler, aka D-Rock, and others in his orbit. Over the past 5 weeks, the government has portrayed Butler as part of the Combs enterprise, a pivotal component of its racketeering case against the music producer and entrepreneur. The prosecution homed in on February 2024 texts between Sean Combs, his security staffer, D-Rock, and Maya, a former personal assistant to Combs. The messages, which were presented in a chart, showed Combs and Butler trying to contact Maya over a period of a week and communicating with each other about their efforts to reach her. Now, Maya, who testified earlier using a court-approved alias, accused Combs of sexually abusing her and corroborated key details of Cassie Ventura's testimony, saying she had witnessed her former boss physically abuse his ex-girlfriend. Hey, I don't want to be blowing up your phone, Sean Combs texted Maya on February 7th, nearly a week after these exchanges began. Just need my memory jogged on some things, Combs continued. You were my right hand for years, so I just want to speak to you. Remember who was even around me. He sent security staffer Damon D-Rock a copy of the same text. The conversations took place when Combs was already battling multiple sexual assault lawsuits, including sex trafficking allegations from Cassie. Summary witness Ananya Sankar is now under cross-examination by defense attorney Tina Garagos. Now, Garagos has been trying to highlight individual messages and time periods to cast doubt on how involved Sean Combs' staff was in procuring drugs and coordinating freak-offs for their boss, or in tending to the physical and emotional wounds of his ex-girlfriends. For example, regarding a lengthy text message between D-Rock and Combs as they were trying to get in touch with a former assistant, Sankar confirmed that there are no records showing Combs calling Maya after February 7th, 2024. Garagos also highlighted certain periods when Chief of Staff Karam didn't appear to have communications about freak-offs, drug deliveries, or physical abuse, including long stretches in 2019 and 2020, according to the government's summary charts. Now, Sean Combs alternated between stoic and restless during Monday morning's testimony. Combs, who was wearing a light colored sweater and white colored shirt, sat straight in his chair for parts of cross examination, his hands clasped between his legs. He would regularly swivel his head from his lawyer, Chini Garagos, who was cross examining the government witness from a nearby podium, to other areas of the courtroom. During parts of testimony, he turned and looked towards the gallery or tilted his head to gaze up briefly at the ceiling. Garagos has finished cross-examining Sinkar, a summary witness for the prosecution, who walked the jury through charts showing correspondence of Sean Combs' most trusted staffers. Prosecutors have begun questioning their next witness, Delisa Penland, a special agent for the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York, and another summary witness. The summary chart the prosecution is now walking through is a big one, aligning the names of Sean Combs, Cassie Ventura, and the alleged escorts with flight records, hotel reservations, and videos allegedly taken from freak-offs. The chart is 71 entries long. Now, Special Agent Penland said the chart only shows individuals for whom they have video footage showing they were at a particular freak-off, which the government is referring to as a meeting for this testimony. The chart tracking alleged freak-off dates, locations, and participants begins in August 2009 with an encounter involving Sean Combs, Cassie Ventura, and a man who went by the name Jules. Ventura mentioned Jules several times in her testimony, describing him as a trusted partner in the sex parties. Along with the first entry, Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson highlighted a text exchange between Combs and Jules from around that time that appeared to show them working out their schedules for one of these meetings. The chart shows 2 meetings taking place in August and 1 in December, all at the London Hotel in New York. There will be a pause in testimony as the jury is excused for lunch. Now, Special Agent Penland will return to the stand shortly. Both sides at this time, though, are discussing who they plan to call as witnesses. Penland will not be allowed to draw too many inferences based on the summary chart, stating only what was contained in various correspondence and how they align with specific dates, locations, hotel reservations, and travel itineraries. Now, court is back in session, and Special Agent Penland is back on the stand. Jurors are being shown travel and credit card records that will help to establish that Sean Combs bankrolled freak-offs by paying for flights, which is a big no-no. Several of the flight records being discussed by the agent on the witness stand cite Cassie Ventura as a passenger. The jury also saw the name of a male escort who took part in the sexual encounters, according to testimony. If reviewing a chart of records sounds like dry testimony, it is. And it's made all the more so because of the limitations in how the prosecution can describe the chart, requiring them to be very methodical and neutral in the presentation of these documents. These include bank statements, hotel bookings, flight itineraries, and text messages arranging to meet in specific hotel rooms at specific times. Now, before the recess, the judge sided with the defense, which sought to limit how Special Agent Penland talks about the summary chart. Because Penland wasn't at these meetings, which the prosecution is suggesting were freak-offs, she can't make any inferences in her testimony about what the parties did. She's limited mostly to reading out the various documents, which are grouped by date. The government played 2 videos that only the jury, the court, and the parties were privy to on Monday afternoon. One video clocked in at 11 minutes. The other was nearly 40 minutes long. No audio was heard, with all the relevant parties wearing headphones and viewing the video on private screens. Ugh. Okay. Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson asked Penland to review specific portions of the two videos along with jurors. Given the sensitivity with which the videos were shared, it's possible the videos were freak-offs. So Sean Combs sent a text to Cassie Ventura in early 2013 asking if she wanted to celebrate Christmas belatedly with a freak-off. "You horny?" Combs began the exchange January 11th. What a gentleman. Ooh, Casanova over here. "LOL, yeah," Ventura responded. "Would you want to celebrate Christmas and have a freak off tonight or Friday?" he asked his girlfriend at the time, before sending another message saying he had her Christmas presents. After Combs reached out to her about the freak off, Ventura contacted an alleged escort named Santiago, one of the several the couple had been communicating with. Ventura told him to meet them at a hotel in Beverly Hills. "I'm a bit more sexually excited than last time," Santiago texted. "I also know the rules. Dress casual, nice, and bring baby oil, right?" Boy, does he know the rules. According to the government's summary chart, several other alleged escorts took part in this January meeting. Summary witness Penland has finished reviewing an evidence chart related to alleged freak-offs between Sean Combs and Cassie Ventura from 2009 to 2017. Penland is expected to return to the stand Tuesday morning to review similar records related to Combs and Jane, a recent ex-girlfriend, using a court-approved alias. With that, court has concluded for that day. Now on to day 25. Now it starts off kind of spicy. The judge grilled the parties about potentially leaked information published in a news article before testimony kicked off Tuesday morning. Both teams of lawyers denied leaking the sealed details. Ooh, I wonder what they are. First on the stand will be an agent who started testifying Monday about the logistics of Sean Combs' freak-offs, presenting evidence such as texts, flight records, and hotel bills. Combs' former assistant, Brendan Paul, is expected to testify later in the day. He was called into the courtroom briefly a few moments ago to be granted immunity. So many people are getting immunity. Combs decided he did not want to be in the courtroom for that immunity proceeding. Now the jurors are being shown timeline charts illustrating texts and calls between Sean Combs, Cassie Ventura, and others. This is probably a way for prosecutors to summarize certain key dates and to make it easier for the jury to visualize chats surrounding certain events. "Call me, the cops are here," Sean Combs texted Cassie on the day he punched, kicked, and dragged her in the hallway of a Los Angeles hotel in March 2016. The jury is viewing such texts on a timeline chart, which allows the prosecution to package the voluminous mobile phone evidence in this trial in a more understandable way. Now, Sean Combs was infuriated at Cassie Ventura for leaving the hotel after he beat her in 2016, which she previously testified happened when she tried to leave a freak-off. In a subsequent text message shown to the jury, Combs told Ventura that he was about to be arrested, which was not true. "Thanks," he added. What a stand-up guy. I can't wait till this is over. I hate this guy. These texts aren't new evidence. The jury saw them during Ventura's testimony last month, but they are being represented as prosecutors emphasize their narrative in what might be the last week of the government's case. The jury is on a morning break. Before the break, though, jurors were shown a timeline of phone calls between Sean Combs and a hotel security guard who was paid off in March 2016 to help Combs bury the video recording of his chilling assault on Cassie Ventura. In that footage, Combs is seen punching, kicking, and dragging the singer and actress as she hurriedly tried to leave the hotel after a freak-off in a nearby room. So while they're on break, let's catch up on our next witness, well, the next big witness coming soon, which is Brendan Paul, who's a former assistant to Sean Combs, and he's expected to testify very, very soon. Now, Paul has been mentioned in at least 3 sexual assault complaints against his former boss and was arrested in connection with the Department of Homeland Security's raid of Combs' Miami home last year. In a lawsuit music producer Rodney Jones filed against Combs, he alleged that Paul worked as Combs' mule to acquire and distribute guns and drugs. Paul was also called a drug mule in Grace O'Marquez's lawsuit against Combs and his son Christian. Paul's lawyer, Brian Bieber, denied the allegations. I'm going to go with no relation to Justin Bieber, in case anybody was wondering. A man named Manzaro Joseph also accused Paul of drugging him, which Paul's lawyer said in a statement to the Washington Post was literally impossible to have occurred. Brendan was still in high school in Ohio at the time, having never even set foot in West Palm Beach in his life. Oh, great. On March 25th, 2024, the day 2 of Combs' houses were raided, Paul was arrested in Florida and charged with drug possession. The charges were later dropped after Paul completed a pretrial diversion program in December, according to court records. The defense is trying to undermine the government's case by suggesting Special Agent Penland left out important context about Sean Combs' relationship with Cassie when she presented a timeline of their texts. In raunchy messages shown to Penland during cross-examination, Ventura expressed enthusiasm for aspects of her freak-off with Combs and various male escorts. The defense has argued that Ventura was a willing player in the elaborate sexual episodes, which involved the copious amounts of baby oil, candles, drugs, and alcohol, and outside participants, and often lasted for days. According to evidence at the trial, Combs held freak-offs with various women, including Ventura, one of his longtime regular girlfriends. I had a great time with you this weekend. Thank you, Sean Combs wrote to Cassie. Me too. I love you. I miss you, Ventura wrote back. The defense is trying to highlight another side of the violent and turbulent relationship between Combs and Ventura, one that allows for the possibility Ventura consented to their group sex episodes, despite prosecutors' claims. While Combs' lawyers have conceded that he was sometimes physically abusive, they have also argued that the federal charges he faces do not apply because Ventura and other victims were voluntary participants in his sexual lifestyle. Now, defense lawyer Tina Garagos is playing sexually explicit footage for the jury as she cross-examines Special Agent Penland and tries to suggest that Cassie and Sean Combs had a more complicated relationship than the prosecution contends. The public is not able to see or hear freak-off footage played during the trial, so it is unclear what exactly the jury is seeing. Oh boy, could not imagine being one of these jurors. And with that, the court goes on lunch break, and they're back from lunch break. Okay, with more cross-examination of Special Agent Penland. Now, text conversations between Cassie Ventura and Sean Combs being shown to the jury could help support a key element of the defense's case, that Ventura had free will in their relationship to make decisions, including about her participation in the drug and sex-fueled freak-offs. I've been thinking about one too, Ventura said about the prospect of a freak-off in one text message presented during the testimony. In another, I love you so much. You make me a better woman, daughter, and sister. Ventura also thanked Combs for showing me love and happiness the way it's supposed to be. While prosecutors say Combs was an abusive and controlling power figure who used violence and other measures to control Ventura, his attorneys say she was desperate to be close to him and bitter over the fact that he saw other women, including the now deceased mother of some of his children, Kim Porter. Now, as we approach the end of the prosecution's portion of this trial, their last witness is expected as soon as Wednesday. It seems likely that the defense does not intend to call many witnesses, which is a common strategy. Sean Combs' lawyers have been focused on countering the prosecution's narrative during the cross-examinations, as we saw just now in the presentation of flirtatious, loving, sexual texts between Combs and Ventura. And Combs' defense is aiming to highlight for the jury communications that support their counter-narrative, that far from being a sex trafficking victim, Ventura had agency in her relationship with Combs and sometimes was the one to suggest having freak-offs involving other men. After Penland's cross-examination, prosecutors briefly kept her on the stand to ask about messages that depicted Cassie Ventura as a shattered and abused person. "I'm not a rag doll. I'm someone's daughter," Ventura wrote to Sean Combs in one message. "You treat me like Ike Turner," she said in another, a reference to the abusive husband of singer Tina Turner. Prosecutors argue that Ventura was strictly controlled and manipulated by Combs throughout their 11-year relationship. Prosecutor Maureen Comey just said the government is likely to rest its case Friday, not Wednesday as had been planned. Wednesday's testimony may go longer than had been expected, and the court is closed Thursday for the Juneteenth holiday. The jury has been sent home for the day while lawyers discuss another issue with a juror. Oh boy, more juror drama. So on Monday, a juror was dismissed over concerns about his New York residency, but this new issue involved a different juror, and it's being handled in a sealed room, so we don't have many details yet. We may not know until Wednesday whether any action was taken behind the closed-door inquiry into the latest juror issue. Tomorrow, Combs' ex-assistant, Brendan Paul, and an agent are slated to take the witness stand. The prosecution is winding down its case after more than a month, but may not rest until Friday, after which we expect a relatively brief presentation by the defense. And with that, those are days 24 and 25. Oh my gosh, I'll tell you what, I will be happy to never say the words Intercontinental Hotel ever again after doing all this. But there's a lot that I wish we could see in federal trials. Like, I wish we were allowed to view them, because when you do say some of the things, like, there's a lot of context that's missing, a lot of emotions that, depending how you read it, can be, come across as different than what it was intended. And so it does frustrate me with this trial that we don't actually get to see it like all the other trials we watch on Couch Court with Llama. But, the jury has a job, and I hope that it's being presented well and that they can come to a conclusion, because I really would hate for this to be a hung jury and the victims have to go through all this again. But anyway, friends and my couch potatoes, please leave some comments under this video letting me know what you think about this case and how the prosecution's doing. And we will be releasing these every night that court is in session. So if you've enjoyed our coverage, please hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss when we go live or drop an episode. You can also find all of our Diddy coverage in our U.S. versus Sean Diddy Combs playlist. And I want to thank you all for being here with me today. And until next time, go forth and be amazing. Bye.